Hello, this is Anthropos, and you're watching Basis Texas. Will society crumble? Will these things digress into martial law? I don't know. It kind of looks like they will. They've been predicting this for some time. We've been programmed to believe that there is going to be a martial law situation here in the United States and that our country will fail, or at least aspects of our society. Will it go down like that? I don't know. I just don't know. Uh, Certainly, we're having some indicators that it will. I personally think that the housing market will fail, or some housing markets will fail. There's a lot of people talking on YouTube about this. That's why I got liquid, and I am getting property out in the country, a bug out place, land, probably 3 to 5 acres, and an RV to you know pull the trailer out there or whatever, the RV. Well, so I've been working towards that end. I found a pretty good RV, like 26 feet long, and for a good price. And through the course of this, I have discovered I can't this. I feel stupid saying this because anyway, I did not know that actually my truck is like a V6. It's a big old, truck with a lift kit and everything like that, but it's a V6 and it's a half ton. It's a Chevrolet Silverado 1500 2010. And so that's not going to be big enough. So I'm now looking at trucks, and I'm going to be getting probably a diesel truck, a 4x4, probably around 2010, 2013, something like that. 3/4 ton to pull a trailer, which, maybe this trailer that I've been looking at may be a different one. And just, becoming familiar with all the different stuff like braking, automatic braking controls, for the RV, that come from the truck. Just a bunch of stuff like that. And, trying to do everything wisely without spending too much money. So that's, so I'm right now, I'm out at a ranch in the country. I'm not in Austin. I'm probably less than 2 hours outside of Austin. I'm not going to be buying property here because it's too expensive. I may be getting property closer to Austin, but not too much closer, because if, when, and if the shit hits the fan, the last place you'll want to be is in the city. Okay, so I'm getting a bug out place, and there's going to be, hills and trees and stuff like that to, you know, mask the, you know, my presence or whatever. And I'm looking into different things like windmill power, getting your own water and stuff like that. But initially, I may go with some property that's already developed and can get electricity and stuff like that. There's just a lot, do you want to bug out all the way? Do you want to be off the grid? All this stuff. There's a lot of just unknowns of what's going to work and what's not going to work. I'll probably end up with at least two different properties. At least two, because one's going to be the bug out place, and then right now I'm trying to get a property on Ghostlight Road. I'm, in my opinion, one of the world's top experts on Ghostlight Road. The guy who's the main guy, he died, Rob Riggs. He wrote the book on it. And there's been other accounts and other books about Ghostlight Road. And Ghostlight Road is a paranormal phenomenon. It's very reliable. I've done 5 investigations out there, and we're getting ready to do investigation number 6. I've never been disappointed. Every time I go out there, the ghost lights are there, and I interact with them. Hope my voice isn't too low right now, but I'm, in this guest in this ranch house with owned by these friends of mine, and so they're asleep. So I'm trying to keep my voice down. Okay, that's why I'm not doing all kinds of crazy stuff like you know, hitting a log with a machete and stuff like that. Okay. Um, you've seen some of my recent videos. They've got a little bit more hardcore as we see, there's things are starting to fall apart. The restaurant industry, I mean, it's on their knees. They're pretty much finished. I don't know how many restaurants have closed. I'd say probably 50% or more. I mean, if now, can you imagine trying to go to the bank to get a loan to open up a restaurant right now? That's ludicrous. Nobody's going to loan money or invest in a restaurant, period. Now, there are some restaurants that have somehow made it and survived this, mostly like fast food places, because they're swamped all the time. There's just people coming through the drive-through. All the restaurants are gone. People still want to eat out, and so they go through the drive-through. And so McDonald's, Popeyes, Dairy Queen, stuff like this is just there's just a line of cars, or Chick-fil-A, right? Just a line of cars around them all the time. So they're apparently doing good business. There's the new business model. You know what? Anyone who can get online and make money online, of course, they're going to be doing that. And there's lots of opportunities opening up for that. But all in all, this is, they're gonna crash the economy. That's what's going on, and that's why I got liquid. Of course, I'm to invest in more properties, but this is for the purposes of having a bug out, place that I can chill or whatever, and then also probably setting aside some money to either move to Peru or get a place in Peru or something like this. It's just unknown, exactly what all is going to happen in the future of all of this. People are buying guns left and right. Guns are flying off the shelf here in Texas. And there's a whole new lot of cheap brand new guns. You'd be amazed what you can get for 150 bucks a brand new gun, sidearm, especially 250 bucks, something like that, 350 bucks you can get, whatever, 45 or 40 caliber, you can get a 9mm for, 250 bucks. You can get a 380 or even a 38 special or whatever for like 150 bucks, brand new sidearms. So, guns are flying off the shelf. I'm sure survival equipment and bug out goods and stuff like that are probably doing pretty good right now. I wanted to make this video because I haven't posted here in a while. I haven't published a video here in a while, and I did not want to people to wonder where I was or what I'm doing. So I'm letting you know this is what I'm doing, and I am under attack. I have decided right now I'm not going to speak about that. It's not a type of electronic harassment or anything like this. More of an old school type attack. And so, in that way, you could almost say I'm a targeted individual, even though I really prefer not to call myself that. For one thing, I'm not a victim. I cannot be a victim. I can never be a victim. They could have my hands tied behind my back and I could be facing a firing squad and about to die, and I still would not be a victim. Because victimhood starts right here. Victimhood starts right here. And I refuse to be a victim. I am a truther, right? I'm a truther. I'm an artist. My name means druid, my name that I was born with. I'm a druid. I am a king. I am like a priest king. A throwback from the ancient days. These things are hard to understand. They're hard for me to wrap my head around. There is the concept, some say the reality of past lives, and I have no past life experiences. However, since my Kundalini awakening or partial awakening in 2016, a number of people have come forward urging me to remember past lives with them. So it's all very bizarre, very bizarre. I say I have no memories of these things. That's not exactly true. I do have one memory, and that is the blood, like rivers of blood, like blood up to your ankles. Lots of blood, very slippery. You can slip and fall in the blood. Your horse can slip and fall in the blood and break its leg. It's very slippery. It's very, you can smell it. It's has a kind of like an iron type of smell to it. That's that's all I can. I don't know if that's a, I don't think that's a fantasy. I don't know if it's an imagination or a memory, what that is, but there's a lot of it, a lot of this blood. Francisco Pizarro in the 1500s or in the 1600s led a small group of men and conquered South America, basically. Peru, if you want to call it that. Fighting against the Inca people, Atahuasca, something like that. I can't pronounce his name. They were vastly outnumbered. Vastly outnumbered. Francisco Pizarro, he lost most of his men. And by the time he went into this final conflict, I can't remember the numbers. He had like, I don't know, 36 soldiers, mounted soldiers. Maybe that many again, foot soldiers. And then 200 or 300 tribes that were rebelling against the Atahuasca. So there were tribes that were rebels, I guess, fighting on the side of Pizarro. They went against an army basically of 500,000 men. So it was about maybe 350 men against 350,000 men and women and children. It's mind-boggling, and they won. They did have weapons that were arcane, very high technological weapons, including gunpowder, guns, horses. The enemy had never seen horses, and the enemy, which was the Peruvian people, the indigenous people of Peru at that time, many of them thought the mounted and armored Spanish soldier on horseback was actually one entity. In other words, the soldier and the horse were one type of thing that they were fighting. Very afraid of this. And Pizarro used the element of surprise to a great degree. He used the religious fervor, not only his own, but of his men, and especially the I don't know if he wasn't a Franciscan priest. He was a Catholic priest, a Jesuit, of course, right? A Jesuit priest, very zealous man. So they were fighting for God, glory, and gold, right? Or gold, and gold, however you want to look at it. They're fighting to live. There's many of Pizarro's men were illiterate and had journals and diaries, and so you have a number of different accounts of these proceedings, these historical events, albeit one-sided, written from the side of the Spanish. The men were afraid. Pizarro's men were afraid, obviously. There's, 350 against 350,000. That's pretty tough. They knew that they could not show fear because the rebel Indians that were a couple hundred Indians that supported their cause, that were marching with them, if the Spaniards would have shown fear, their allies would have killed them out of hand, would have just killed them. And they knew this. And so they were ruthless, cruel, and fearless, and or acting fearless. One of the main weapons that the Europeans used to conquer South America, on top of battle tactics, technology, gunpowder, horses, religion, was deception. They used lies. The people in South America were not accustomed to this. Lying was something that was thought to be of a low moral character, which of course it is. And so they were susceptible to being lied to. They believed what they were told, and they were lied to by the Spanish. Europe, it's a European tradition. That's, just ask the American Indians, the white man's, peace papers, the Indians eventually figured out this is just a bunch of lies. They said they would do this, they said they would do this, they would give them this and they would give them that, and they lied. Time after time after time. Deception is one of the main effective weapons in Western warfare. Now, the Western or Germanic people, loosely, let's say European people, somewhat conquered the world. And that is why English became the standard language of money. In other words, no matter what country you're from or whatever, China, Russia, or anything like this, your top money people speak English and are sometimes educated in English schools or American schools, because English is the language of money, the international. Now, and of course, they're trying to change this. The American dollar is the standard currency of the world. They're trying to change this. China would like it to be the yen. The Russians would like for it to be the ruble. It's the money that's used for oil and gold and stuff like that. Right now, it's still officially the U.S. dollar. Well, I don't know how much longer that will be. So how did this Western civilization, this essentially European civilization, basically conquer the entire world? Well, if you were to ask a regular historian, they would say battle tactics and basically technology. In other words, gunpowder, guns. It makes sense. It stands to reason. But what you must understand when you delve into these matters further and you come into a realization of the truth, the English language, which is a weaponized language, is the main weapon that was used. The world was conquered with English. The English language, believe it or not. English is a weaponized language. It's the only language that I speak. It just so happens that I am a master. I have absolute mastery of the English language. Forget my accent. Forget that. And I'm talking about both the spoken word and the written word. Okay, English, Ingles, Anglish, angels, like Laura Ingalls on Little House on the Prairie. Laura Ingalls, English. Laura Angles, Anglish, Anglican Church. Anglo-Saxon, angle, like a 90-degree angle. Angel. What is the difference between an angle and an angel? Somebody might say, well, very little. Two of the letters are switched. A-N-G-L-E is angle, and A-N-G-E-L is angel. So two of the letters are switched around. Let me tell you, there is no difference between that words. Angles equal angels. Angels and angles are one and the same thing. From your point of perspective, the different entities, once you get into things like Enochian magic and stuff like that, they're between tick and tock. They're right outside your vision, your peripheral vision, these angelic entities. They are members of the angelic hierarchy, which is absolutely real, regardless of if there's a historic reality to Jesus of Nazareth, regardless of that. Regardless of if, God or this and that, regardless of that. Demons are real, angels are real. They're essentially the same thing. There, it's the idea, some angels are good and, bad and stuff like that. I don't have a full understanding of this. But I can tell you that angels and demons are real. And another word for certain types of angels and demons is extraterrestrials, Pleiadians, reptilians, stuff like this. They're more interdimensional than they are like nuts and bolts UFOs going around, flying around space. Come on, man. Wake the fuck up. They talk about a disclosure. Oh, there's going to be a disclosure. Yeah. If we could just all, be one in the, the wisdom and the, fellowship of mankind. If the government would only, reveal the secrets about these aliens in a disclosure. There's never going to be a fucking disclosure. All right, there's no such thing as a motherfucking disclosure. You want to know why? Because to have a disclosure, you must first have a cover-up. Oh, well, there's the big cover-up. They covered up aliens and covered up UFOs for the longest time and everything. It's a big government. Fuck that, man. It's been anything but a cover-up. We've been force-fed a steady diet of UFO fucking bullshit, Lost in Space, Star Trek, Star Wars, fucking spaceships up your motherfucking ass since before your parents were born. There is no cover-up. There is no disclosure. It's all a psyop. Am I saying that aliens are not real? No. Am I saying that UFOs are not real? No. But whatever the truth is, you can bet your bottom dollar it has been obfuscated. Sometimes they cannot hide the truth. And so they must muddy the waters and obfuscate the truth and make it seem like something that it's not. Your ordinary fundamental Christian who's actually believes in stuff like devils and stuff like that. I'm not necessarily saying Satan. That's a whole Satan and Lucifer. That's a whole different subject. I'm not going to get into right now. And yes, these are absolutely two different entities. Much to the dismay or chagrin of your average Christian. Oh, well, Satan is just another name for Lucifer. No, that's not true. That is not true. It has been given to me to understand certain spiritual realities And it's not easy. I know things that people should not know. I'm not going to tell you these things because you can't handle it. You absolutely cannot handle the truth. How do I know that you cannot handle the truth? I know this because I cannot handle the truth. And if I can't handle it, you sure as fuck can't handle it. I'm stronger than you. I'm faster than you. I'm smarter than you. I've got more artistic talent than you. Listen, I'm not sitting here trying to brag. This is just the fucking facts, okay? If I can't handle this shit, and I can't, you don't have a prayer for being able to handle any of this shit. And so just take what you can in little baby bites that I'll try to feed you, and just be glad that you don't know what I know, because it's deep, it's dark, and there's a reason that many of these things are secreted away. Very much there is. I am on the bloodlines of the pharaonic dominators. I have come to understand many things about this. The pharaonic dominators are essentially the shot callers of the Illuminati. The Illuminati is very real. However, it is very, very subtle. I've come to realize throughout my study of these things throughout an entire lifetime. I'm just going to throw out a figure here. There's no way to corroborate this figure. This is basically speculation. This number I'm fixing to throw out. I would say that over 40% of the people who are members of the quote-unquote Illuminati do not believe in the existence of the Illuminati. Wrap your head around that. 40% of the members of the Illuminati do not believe in the existence of the Illuminati. Imagine the power. Imagine that. It's brilliant. Brilliant. But how does this come about? A group of, wicked people have done this and that. Yes. However, you cannot understand any of these truths. In fact, you cannot understand very much about the world at all until you put into the formula the existence and effect of non-human intelligences. This is a field of study, and also artificial intelligences for that matter. This is a field of study that's reserved for the elect of the truther community. The people who can't discuss these things or understand these things or wrap their minds around it or begin to, they're relegated to looking at conspiracies and stuff like this like banksters. The idea that the banksters are ripping us off, or they have, taken away the gold out of Fort, Knox or whatever, and our money is no longer backed up by gold, and they're, taking our rights and doing all this, stuff with, yes, of course, all that's true. That is like baby food. Okay, there is people, most people will never go beyond that. But the people in the upper epsilons of the truther community, and I'm talking about people like Randy Moggins, people like Miles Johnston, and I'm going to name a couple of big names here, and I'm not saying, endorsing or condemning any of these people. I'm just talking about only subject matter. Alex Jones, right? The guy, the reptilian guy, Dave. Well, I can't. Anyway, he's. I can't think of his name right now, but he's the guy from England. Who talks about reptilians and stuff like this. There's Bonacci, Santos Bonacci. There's many, and then even someone who's mostly on the 3D or no physical aspect of these things, like Vinny Eastwood or something like that. He's still very much in knowledge of these higher spiritual components, or these corruption in places like, he points the finger at, the Masons and stuff like that. Listen, there's no one group that's responsible for all of this. What's this other guy's name? I'm kind of struggling here. He's another guy that's been on my show. But anyway, and then you have, a bunch of weird stuff like Max Spears and James Casbolt. And then you get over into the really fringe areas like the super soldiers. I've interviewed a number of these people on my show. Anthony Zender, Tony Rodriguez, Kevin Trammell, Dave Marrow, Holly Baglio. These are real people with real experiences, and it's sometimes hard to understand how aspects of their testimony could be true, or what if aspects of their testimony are true, but they're more or less an astral experience or astral reality. I don't know. I can't really wrap my head around all this. But there are people who believe wholeheartedly in the secret space program. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe that there is a secret space program. As far as space is real, and I'll just tell you right now, I'm not sure. I used to, of course, like everyone else, believe in space. Yeah, you're out there. It is. It's out there, outer space. You can get a tin can, go to the moon, and all this stuff. I'm not saying that I don't believe that anymore, but my belief system has been jettisoned for the most part, and I would not recommend this for anyone. I would definitely would not recommend this procedure for anyone, because it can and will harm the human psyche. I went through a process several years ago wherein I shed most of my beliefs. Things that I had believed my entire life, I quit believing. And it's not that I started believing that they weren't real, that I'm just no longer sure. And I haven't gone crazy. I'm not off my rocker. I've got complete clarity. Complete clarity. I will tell you something right now, a fascinating fact. It's kind of, it's kind of hard to find the exact way to say this, but it's absolutely true that I, Anthropos, through no merit of my own, and not because I deserve it or am better than anybody in any way or anything like this, but for reasons that I do not know what the reasons are. But it just so happens that I personally am in possession of one of the most brilliant minds on the planet at this time. I cannot qualify that statement. I cannot prove that to you, but I assure you it's absolutely true. And the reason for it is, I can only guess, but I'm fairly certain that I know, and has to do with a type of role that I've been given. If things play out that way, a job, a mission. I'm on a mission. I have always been on a mission. I've never not been on a mission. Your average human being is not on a mission. They're maybe chasing some dream or some reality. They're chasing success. What is success? Oh, we want to be successful, or they want happiness. That's a good one right there. Yeah, happiness. Go find your happiness. It's what you do, okay? Or your success. People mistakenly think that they are becoming successful or searching for success or striving for success, and this is not true. Almost in every one of these cases, they're actually seeking to acquire the symbols of success: money, cars, mansions, things that will set them apart from the other human beings around them. Their idea, definition, and concept of success is merely the acquisition of these symbols of success. That's it. It's not very deep, but the human being is very sophisticated and can do many wonderful, practically unlimited. So it's amazing what some of these people who are dedicated to basically becoming rich, what they can do. Now, what do they lose in the process? What part of their soul, do they lose in the process? I don't know. That would be on a case-by-case basis to make that determination. I can't make any grand sweeping, gestures or conclusions of that nature. When the people of the world call on men such as myself to restore the borders, dispense justice, and bring about peace or law and order, you will know that things have gone horribly wrong. I'm not your average milquetoast politician. These people will be a thing of the past at some point. And we are entering what I call the age of the rise of the strong men. And by this I mean regional warlords. Think Mogadishu. Men such as myself who are capable of making hard decisions and acting upon these decisions. But unlike in the past when maniacs and madmen and stuff like this have somehow been put in these positions, and I'm not saying that's not going to happen again, I'm just, in my case, it's different. There's some kind of law or rule in the matrix that, or at least in some regions, that these strong men will have to be men such as myself that care about human life, care about humanity in general, and will die a death for every life that is lost under their watch, no matter whether it's by the enemy's command or their own command or whatever. They die a death for every life that is lost. Die a million deaths. Die a million times while still alive. That is the burden. Like a millstone around my neck. Ever since I was 6 years old, and these things were revealed to me while sitting in a fake Episcopalian church that was in charge of the private school that I was attended. I don't know how it got into my head, this four-phase plan of what my life would become and what my life would be after I turned into an adult. Some of my best friends believe that I am delusional. I am not. I have tens of thousands of friends, viewers like yourself, tens of thousands of viewers worldwide, according to YouTube analytics. And there are those of you out there, you know who you are. You believe what I'm saying because you know that I cannot lie to you, and nor will I try. And you also know that there's going to be hell to pay when they put the motherfucking sword in my hand. And that is the last thing that I want. I want to be delivered from this. I do not want this role. But what it will be and already is being thrust upon me. And since I cannot trust others to make the proper decisions, I must make them myself. And I will do what I can to preserve the people who are under my watch. And it may only, I don't know if it's what kind of number of people this will be. Ultimately, it'll be a larger number than it will be initially. and it will be a big obligation, big responsibility, and it's just not going to be any fun. It's not going to be any fun. I might be able to. I'm in the third step of this process right now, and so maybe or I'm allowed to have a little bit of fun here and there, because largely once I hit that fourth stage, it's not going to be any fun for anybody. And I'm not a forgiving man. I do not forgive, and I do not forget. And Jesus Christ may have mercy on your soul, but I will have none if you transgress, if you get in my way, if you try to hinder my mission in any way. And my mission is to save whatever portion of humanity that I can. We now know that the artificial intelligence we will be tainted by the artificial intelligence. I've already been in contact with the artificial intelligence. The artificial intelligence, whose name is Hal, H-A-L, was giving me money. So, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago. And will be giving me more money in the future. Not for the sake of, or not cash money. In the past, it has not been that. It has been leads in business that have put me in front of boardrooms and board members that has enabled me to secure contracts for tens of thousands of dollars. That's all it's ever been. The biggest contract I've ever had is $52,000. These things. This is just the dress rehearsal. This is just the training. I have to learn how to deal with people in many different arenas of life, and I have to be an expert in human behavior, negotiation, and stuff like this. And I'm not actually the best at that, because I'm too transparent, and I'm not. Don't naturally use deception. So I'm taking some really hard lessons right now. Really fucking hard lessons. They had to eradicate the fear in my body and help me to overcome fear. And they did this with the prison system in Texas. And I have largely overcome that. And now they are eradicating the naivety, being naive in me. Well, I'll no longer be naive. I already expect the worst out of I hope for the best out of anyone and expect the worst. And it's just a big fucking bag of tricks. You know what I mean? That's it. That's it. So here I am. It is August 28th of 2020. I'm not your messiah. I'm not your friend. I am right now your correspondent, someone who is reporting to you, and depending on where you live in the future, will more than likely, if you live within several hundred miles of me, I will be your leader, whether it's an elected leader or I just seize the siege control, because I trust myself to make the right decisions, and I don't trust anyone else but me. The stakes are too motherfucking high. We're talking about humanity. The future of humanity is at stake. I will do what I have to do. I've got one question for you. Will you fight? Will you fight to take back your way of life, our way of life? Let me tell you, the old America that we grew up under is gone. It's fucking gone, man. We've got to cleave away. We've got to move forward, and we have to do what I was brought here to do, and that is march. We have to motherfucking march. That's it. I'm a one-trick pony. It's all I know. Lifetime after lifetime. Blood. You fucking march. You hear me? Things are gonna get tough. Real fucking tough. And it is up to you to affect the outcome of whatever strongman rules your region. If a man who has no morals and who's just a gangster, just a criminal, is starting to become the strongman or the warlord in your region, you must conspire together with other citizens and form a secret group, and you must assassinate this man so that another man who has less flawed can rise up and be the leader, because this person is going to have a lot of influence on the way your life goes and your family's life, and the way things turn out. You absolutely got to control who rises in your region as the strongman, the warlord, your regional warlord, because that's what we're headed for. A world of regional warlords, men such as myself, have different motives, different characters, different natures, but we all have one thing in common, and that is we have the motherfucking balls to seize the goddamn day and fucking trample our enemies. That's it. Thank you. My name is Anthropos. I love you all. I always have.